today I'm here at the beach with my friend Erin, and we literally just met just a couple days ago here on the beach. And Jonas and I were here swimming in the beach and sitting on the beach. And then I think you were sitting maybe 5 meters over, or about 5 meters over from us. And then we started a conversation and had a really interesting connection and conversation of resonance. And I really appreciated Aaron's being for what he brought into the conversation just through him being himself. And also I really appreciated about you, Aaron, was about your connection to yourself and also how deeply you're connected to your interior space within yourself. So I really just want to share this conversation with you because there are certain things you said in our conversation that really planted seeds within me as well. And I like something that you said about also this question of what's emerging now in the field, or what's emerging within yourself, or what's emerging in this conversation right now. And maybe you can share with me how that came to you, or how you have felt the inspiration to bring that into the relational space.
Yeah, thank you, Nicole. Yeah, I'm finding in my life increasingly now what to orient to what's alive, and what's alive is always what's moving now.
Yes.
Not just the stories of where we've been, not just the identities, what's emerging, what's coming out of space,
Yes.
what's here now, and what's in movement here now, not just in stillness. And as I want to orient myself both to a balance of what's been crucial in my life of both death and the transformative process of learning I've had through many encounters with death and life, and the celebration of being a living being as long as I'm doing that until the day I die, that I want to hold those in balance. And what's emerging for me is life, and what's just kind of fixed places is not so much that, doesn't have as much of that flavor.
Yes.
So yeah, maybe we can even move this conversation towards emergence. So I'll ask you, and then we can take it into the conversation of what's emerging for you from where we were in conversation before.
Yeah.
Then I can also go with that.
Well, right now, in this moment, I'm appreciating right now this moment of this emergence of naturally being ourselves and celebrating what is naturally what's here and what we're able to be. So being able to just be ourselves authentically and transparently and allowing everything to be here. So knowing that it doesn't have to be like a social mask. It doesn't have to, in our conversation, there doesn't have to be anything that's contrived or, fixated from the mind. It's more like naturally what is coming through and where is the resonance, where is the life energy right now in a conversation within ourselves. So I feel it's like this quality right now of feeling celebratory for actually just being free to be ourselves and to be really natural and connected to this stream of life energy that's in all of us. That's the thing. Sometimes we lose this connection because we become more in here. We can get fixated. But that was a question I was going to ask you when you said about being in the stream of life and what's now. It's like, what's the opposite of that? Or what would be like the polarity to merging right now in life? What's the opposite of that for people to have a contrast?
Yeah, I'll speak to that in a moment. First, I was going to say I think that what you were just mentioning is close to what's been this tremendous gift for me of death.
Yes.
Death as a resource. I had a deep illness and processes with losing so much of what I knew of myself. And in that process, the stripping away of all these layers of identity, of expectation, of culture, in that space is where I started to find, what you're speaking of, that none of that overlay really matters to my heart or to my soul. And I found that in this balance again between living and dying, that death has been such a personal resource, and I use that word precisely, resource, has given me such a kind of backdrop to the ability to live, and to live in presence and emergence in what's actually here, and not just what my mind or what culture or what expectation would place here. And then, so yeah, your question, what would be the opposite of emergence? Interesting. Yeah. What would be the opposite of emergence?
Comes to me is kind of more like from the mind, maybe fixating that we need to speak about this, or it has to be like this, and we kind of control it with the mind. Or when it comes to you, it's kind of my feeling. But
Yeah, expectation
yeah,
would be one, maybe one opposite. Uh, yeah, although mind is not the enemy necessarily of life happening. It can get in the way. Uh, yeah, I don't know. I don't have a good answer now.
I think it's good. I already heard what you said, but you also said in the conversation yesterday we had at dinner, and you said he doesn't believe in shoulds, or using the word
Yeah.
should, or like
Yeah.
he doesn't use shoulds. I mean, that's also a good inspiration or a good seed to plant in our psyche to be like, I'm curious, and you can share also with whoever's watching, why don't you use shoulds, or why do you kind of cancel shoulds from your vocabulary?
And so I do use should occasionally because I'm not perfect and I still have to correct
Yeah.
myself, but I really, really don't like should. I remember seeing once a spoken word poetry from someone on the mountain of should, climbing the mountain of should, and I could really feel that, and something that I experienced in my life working with like the nervous system and this flow of life within the body. I once had a experience with a couple of somatic friends of mine doing a kind of practice session. We were working with the nervous system and flowing in our nervous systems and our embodiment. And we brought into the room at some point, I think I introduced it, just the concept of should, or the concept of judgment. And immediately you could feel this like constriction and contraction go into our bodies, into the whole field, into our nervous systems. And I think I find that something like that in the energy of should, that anything should, and that can be external or internal, it can just as much be my own shoulds to myself. That there's kind of constriction and pain I can actually feel to myself, this like restriction that cuts out this like you mentioned something when we met about noticing like a relaxed intensity in you.
Yes.
That's something I resonated with, that I want to live from that place where a lot is allowed into myself,
Yes.
and I kind of keep a relaxation within it.
Yes.
I think as much as I grip, as much as I hold a tightness around that, is as much as that will diminish.
Yes.
That actual life force in me will diminish. And should, to me, it's so vastly culturally supported or accepted or cultivated, this idea of shoulding each other. And I just find it such a source of pain and restriction to life. It's like, again, back to the living and dying. Life is always in movement, in emergence. And should is one of these things that can constrict it and harden it. And death is where movement stops. So if this flow of being is stopped in the ways that we should ourselves, that we put judgments on what is allowed and what is not allowed in our own movements of life. Of course, we can have our own morals within that. That doesn't mean just anarchy. We can have our own choices of what we do. It's not just everything necessarily. We get to choose what we allow ourselves. But when should comes in as this is good, this is bad, this is right, this is wrong, this is okay, this is something to shame or should out of ourselves, then I find that's such an interruption. And it actually, it hurts me when I feel it. And sometimes, with you, sometimes if I kind of catch someone else in that, I'll try to offer, like, let go of the should.
Liberate the
Let
should,
go
right?
of the should.
Liberate
Release
it.
the should. There is no should. That is not maybe a concept we need for ourselves.
Even right now, when you say about should, this energy of should, I feel it contracts in my body too.
Yeah.
It's like he's speaking about should, and then in my own body, it's like I feel tightness in my belly. My belly is like clenching a little bit. I feel stress, tension in my head. It's like interesting you're talking about. It's like I can feel it viscerally in my own body.
Yeah.
What is like how different words and how different language that we use affects our nervous system and affects also our our own body, the connection to our body.
Well, it's much more than words.
Yes.
It's an energy, of course.
Yeah.
There's, I can say should in a way that's like light, but there's an oppression, I feel, to the strength to which should often works for us. And yeah, you feel the word is of course just representative, but it feels of an energy of like make life smaller, narrow it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kills the life force in a way, right?
The life force in a way,
Yeah. Because also when I met Aaron as well, and I saw him at the beach, he was so relaxed. That's also what I mentioned. It's like he was just sitting there lying there, and he was just really relaxed in his body. And it's more rare, I would say, in this day and age to also meet people that are really like connected and like really sinking in and anchored in their body, because I think it's so easy in this world to be more up here and above the mind and above the neck up. But I felt with you and I saw you, I was like, wow, you're really sunk into yourself and you're really anchored in this body. Like, and it's the best, like I could feel that you're comfortable and really anchored in your body, and that was something that I could feel when I first met him as well, which is also more rare.
Yeah, and this is something I'm emerging in myself in my life. It's this real focus on balance, which I was being told in Bali, and the Balinese spiritual culture is also a very central focus, balance. So I spoke before about living and dying. That's something I'm trying to find, a grounded balance, that I don't kind of get in this celebration of living all the time, that I forget the resource of letting go, of stripping away of my mind that comes with taking death and dying into a lived reality, not just waiting until I'm 90 and then I'll be there. And then at the same time, not kind of getting drawn down into death so much which has happened for me, times when I'm ill for a month, times when I kind of leave the world behind. I want to take this balance, emerging in me, live day by day from combination and integration of life and death, and of embodiment and mind, and of concepts and meaning, that things kind of not just find a middle way that's like less than either side. I think that can be the middle way. That for some people, the middle way can be detaching and not being in life as much, but finding a middle way that's actually including more living and more dying, including more of my darkness, more of my light, more, so that it's richer and richer, that I'm living through something that's both in balance and intense. It has exactly this like relaxed place within the middle. It's taking in so much from both sides.
Thank you for sharing this. And that's something else that comes to me too when you're speaking about this too, something else that you spoke one sentence yesterday also at a dinner. And he said at that time, I celebrate this in myself. And the way you said that, I thought it was also very special and unique. And I love that you said this. I really love, like, he's in a very humble, natural way. Like, I celebrate this quality in myself. I think that's what you said. And I love how you said this, because sometimes people think that if we acknowledge our gifts or something, that we're kind of being egotistical, or we're kind of being kind of big-headed, right? Like, if you can share your experience with this. So
yeah, totally.
Inspire other people, you know?
Thank you. Yeah, I don't remember what I was celebrating then, but yeah, I find celebration actually a little bit of an antidote to the ego. Celebration's more an invitation, like, hey, I find this thing in myself that I find nourishing and great, and I invite you to like be with me. And it doesn't mean you need to like say I'm great and feed my ego exactly. It's more like I'm enjoying this about myself. I'm enjoying that I'm doing work, that I'm seeking these things that feel like a healthy direction for my own life. It doesn't mean you need to do the same, and it doesn't mean like that it's like good or great and other things are wrong or bad. Again, maybe where ego can come in, where it's like, this is better than this.
Yes.
But without being better, it can still be like, enjoy. Like, enjoy takes the fun out of this part of my being. And yeah, maybe you also find something enjoyable in it, so enjoy it with me. Or even if you don't, I find it enjoyable about myself, and I don't want to have shame about that. There's also things about myself I find challenging and know are hard for people to be with.
Yes.
But maybe even that can be celebrated, like
Yes.
celebrating that there's just an honest inclusion of pain, joy, and as I spoke before, joy has been a big lesson in my life. I had a time earlier in my life when I was had this kind of feeling of realization of suffering in the world around me in a way that was kind of hard and at peace at the same time, and it turned into this joy emergence in me, this laughing for 3 days in a row, and then kind of like every minute for 3 days in a row, and then for some time over the next 6 months. And that's also something I shared that has been re-emerging in me, is this journey through joy, this journey of learning and being guided by joy itself. And I think I find, okay, my judgment, I do still have judgments, that joy is very often by many people misunderstood as like fun or happiness. But there's something for me deeper in what I experienced earlier in my life that I'm cultivating into emerging again, of this quality of kind of almost this instant mind place where it's like there's almost no way to conceptualize what could be right or wrong. There's just like a kind of cosmic joke going on where it's all a little ridiculous, whatever is in the mind to get in the way. And instead joy becomes this emergence. It's like emergent, bubbling, flowing out of the heart place that can be infectious. But more importantly, I think to me, is a source for clearing what's in the way of really being there. And that joy ties for me into this also celebration.
I feel it when you tell me this right now. It's like I feel the bubbling as you're speaking right now. It's like I'm smiling. I feel it. It's amplified. Yeah, it's like non-casual joy. There's no reason in the mind. It's more like it bubbles up. It's like as you're saying, I feel
bubbling.
it.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
I feel this is also like a beautiful quality that you also bring into this life, into this world. You're meeting others just who you meet, what you are. You have this lightness and ease, and also this joy for life, and of experiencing merging with life, like making love with life in a way, contrary to control, right? With the ocean, with the water, with the elements. I think it's just such a beautiful element to be so open to life, where we know that everything is like a lovemaking, like connecting to the sand or the water. It's like this is something that everybody can connect to these qualities of the senses, and opening up our energy flow to be in connection. So I think this is a beautiful quality and embodiment that you spark and inspire in others as well.
Thank you. I'll celebrate that with you, and also include that, again, for me, it's all in this balance. So I think there can be a tendency, especially in spiritual communities, to get into the light. And for me, this source, this resource for joy, for embodying, for balance, is also just as much in the dark and the emptiness and the void that comes with death and comes with surrender. And I think that's where, for me, something I celebrate again about myself, celebrating the dark and the emptiness is just as much included in that. It's not joy, it's not celebration for absence of pain or suffering, like I was describing. That how I came to joy was through being in a New York City subway, feeling the suffering around me and finding a peace within that, and that emerged into joy. Not joy just as like light and fluff. It's joy anchored in life and death, living in balance and emerging into with every moment.
Thank you so much for sharing this with me today and
Yeah,
with everyone who's watching as
Nicole.
well.
Thank you,
Yeah.
whoever you are.
I hope that our conversation and just this interaction and conversation can spark seeds within you and maybe bring in some things to contemplate or qualities to also reflect on as well. And that I am grateful for your time, that your openness, that we could spontaneously make this video today because it was unplanned and it was kind of spontaneous in the moment. And yeah, thank you so for your time, Aaron.
Yeah, thank you,
And
Nicole. Beautiful to meet you and Jonas.
and thank you for recording, Jonas, as well. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.